How's it going, guys, and welcome back to another video. So that game against the Bills wasn't as bad as I was expecting it to be. I'm pretty sure a lot of Packer fans, I know I didn't really have much faith in that we could beat them, especially with depleted wide receiver group and our offensive line showing up on injury report. It just, after losing the last three, it didn't seem like we had enough firepower, but I wasn't mad about this loss. It sucks losing, but there was a lot of good things where I was at one point yelling at the TV wondering where this was all season. But the Packers showed some things in this game that I haven't seen all season long, and I know a lot of people, fans, have been begging for. And with the final score being 27-17, it's definitely a lot better than I expected. I thought the Bills could potentially put up 40 plus points on us, with us scoring probably around 13 to 17 points, because our offense, if we ran it like we did the last 3 weeks, is very inept. So going into the game, though, I was very shocked to see Green Bay didn't do anything in the wide receiver department. I don't know why I'm starting to get shocked by this, but we did nothing. So we started with 5 receivers going into the game, with Sammy Watkins, Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Samori Toure, and Amari Rodgers. And unfortunately, very early on in the game, Christian Watson went down after he caught the ball with a concussion, which led us to 4 receivers. So if it wasn't already bad enough, we only have 4 receivers. And then Quay Walker gets ejected for shoving who they said was a sideline coach, but it sounds like he was a practice squad player. But either way, he shoved someone on the sideline on the Bills side, and they ejected him. And then afterwards, Devondre Campbell went out with a knee injury. So we were slowly getting depleted overall as a team. We lost our fast receiver, an already depleted group, and then our 2 starting middle linebackers. So it was a daunting task, even from the get-go. And the Bills were pretty much slightly moving at will, minus the first drive where we did get a 3 and out. But by the end of the half, they were up 24-7. So it didn't really look good for us, and it was about what we expected. Then come the second half, they're interviewing Matt LaFleur on the sideline, asked him a question, what did you tell your team? And it took him a minute. I was like, it's taking you a while to answer this question. It's a little scary, but he said he told his team he wanted to see some fight. Very average response, in my opinion. Of course, you want to see your team have some fight, but the Packers actually showed some fight in the second half, holding the Buffalo Bills to 3 points. Usually, what I've seen from the Packers, and this isn't just this year, it seems like the past decade, when the Packers are down big and they're just getting destroyed, there's no real fight to them, which, ironically, Matt LaFleur wanted, and they actually delivered. They showed some fight. Usually they just lay down with their tail between their legs and kind of give up. Aaron Rodgers goes complete hero ball and will throw triple coverage to his number 1 receiver, who he doesn't really have. And he actually did do that at one point to Romeo Doubs, and where I was like, great, I've seen this before and I don't like it, but it was only one time, and then we proceeded to run the ball down their throats. And shockingly, it worked. Who would have thought running the ball constantly, especially against the number 1 running defense in the NFL, works? And I'm pretty sure there was a drive at some point in the second half where they ran the ball 10 straight times. It was just run after run after run, and it was up the middle, some outside zone plays. So they were mixing it up so they couldn't cue in on just the outside zone. They were getting good runs up the middle, which was a struggle last week. So that's an improvement for this week. We were running it, and we were doing very well with it. So well that Aaron Jones, he got the ball 20 times and had 143 yards rushing for a 7.2 average. And A.J. Dillon also contributed 10 carries for 54 yards for a 5.4 yard average. He did get a little bit dinged up in that second half where he kind of got pulled back and it kind of looked bad and we might have lost him, which was scary, but he was able to come back in the game and finish. Seems like we avoided injury with A.J. Dillon, so that's great to see. And then on the defensive side, there are some things that I feel like I've seen, once again, for the past decade. Packers and a run defense seems to always be non-existent. I don't know why, how. I mean, granted, we were with our 2 backup inside linebackers, although I think Isaiah McDuffie had a decent game, had a good preseason, so I wasn't too worried about him. And to the point where I was wondering if Devondre Campbell came back, should Isaiah McDuffie get the start, or at least split some carries with Quay Walker, as Quay Walker has been very hit or miss, more miss than hit. So started wondering that. But the defense as a whole mostly came together, and they bent, but they didn't break. We ended up causing 2 interceptions for Josh Allen, one caught by Rasul Douglas and one by Jair Alexander. And the one by Jair was really nice to see because the first pick was by Rasul Douglas. Got the ball. We stopped him. Awesome. There's a slight chance of hope for us. Then the next play, Aaron Rodgers throws a pick because of a bad ball at the line. Gave it right back, and I was like, well, that sucks. That's going to completely deflate this team. There goes all that momentum. But the defense came back, and Jair got a pick for us and ended their drive and kept them off the scoreboard. So they continue to fight, and I know I said this before, it's not something I typically see out of this team, and I haven't seen it for the last 3 years. Usually, once they're knocked down, they're done. So this is really, really nice to see. Then the last nice thing that is stuck in my mind that I saw was Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers was getting killed in the first half. The line couldn't pass protect to save their lives. In the second half, they started doing some slight bootlegs. He was moving around the pocket a little bit more. It seemed like they figured it out a little bit more. And I also do think the Buffalo Bills played a little bit more, not a prevent defense, but they weren't blitzing as much as they sent one player less in the second half, at least for the third quarter. But during the fourth quarter, there was a play where he kind of rolled out and threw to Samori Toure towards the sideline, and it looked like a catch, but the ball actually hit the ground. Now, the knock on Rodgers has been, you missed that catch, or like he can't trust you, he's not going to come back to you, and he's just, you're dead to him. We still think that about Christian Watson after the first week where he dropped a deep ball. So, but he came back the next play to Samori Toure, who, according to Chris Collinsworth, did an ad-lib, and he probably did do an ad-lib. He went up the seam, looked like he was running a deep post, but then cut it back. And so Aaron Rodgers, still in the pocket, saw him and threw a deep touchdown to him. And it was nice to see him going back to the rookie who has gotten pretty much zero playing time outside of last week and this week, and actually get his touchdown. It was his second catch for the season and his first touchdown. So that was great to see Aaron Rodgers actually go back to the rookie, especially, I mean, he didn't have anyone. He was down to 3 receivers. And I say 3 because Sammy Watkins was nowhere to be found. So yes, did we win the game? No, we lost 27-17. Were we supposed to win this game? No. The Buffalo Bills is one of the best teams, if not the best team in the NFL. They're definitely the Super Bowl favorites next to the Eagles. But luckily for us, the Packers are in a weak conference. Like right now, the Vikings are running away with this division at 6-1. But the NFC South is terrible to where they don't even have a winning record in their division. And the Panthers were about to be the leading division leaders at 3-5. And the NFC West is also not really showing a lot of talent. Like they have the Rams and the 49ers, but record-wise, we're right there with them. Now, the Vikings, like I said, they're 6-1, so they're running away with it. So that shouldn't even be on our radar at this moment. And the NFC East is actually very competitive. Usually they're very competitive, but they actually have a lot of solid teams, especially in the standings with the Eagles, Giants, and Cowboys. So besides them, the conference is pretty weak to where we still have a good chance, especially if we follow this pattern or the blueprint, whatever you want to call it. Like if we did what we did today and just run the ball, we ran the ball 30 times. And we were losing for most of the game. And shore up our defense, especially hopefully Devondre Campbell's good. If our defense shores up and we run the ball, don't have the defense on the field as much, we can turn this around. And I might be way too optimistic, but I still think if we just do the simple things, just run the ball, come to a short passing offense. Like our deep passing offense isn't really there. We need, especially with how our offensive line is, shorten up the routes, run the ball down their throats, and play good defense We need to figure out how to stop the run, though. But play good defense and maybe have Jair locked up on their number one because Stephon Diggs did kill us. And granted, Scary Terry did kind of destroy Jair 2 weeks ago, but still, I'd rather see our highest paid corner on their number one receiver every week. But of course, let me know what you think down in the comments. If you like the videos, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. As always, go Pack Go.